Hi friends, it's Genevieve and we are here for episode number 15. And today we're going to talk about pricing your work, especially for us creative entrepreneurs. We have such a gamut, a wide range of services and talents, and we're like, how do we put a number on that? Especially when some folks, they are way undercharging, and then we have folks who are charging like 10 times what we think we could be charging, right? So how do we explain that value? And what is really the right rate, right, for us? Before we get started, please do hit that subscribe button and click that bell so you can be notified every time I come out with a new video. And in case you're wondering who I am Genevieve Kim. I am here to help creative, multi-passionate entrepreneurs become successful doers in their businesses and to really increase their income, their influence, and most of all, your independence, and really help you live that creative lifestyle you've always wanted to live. Let's just dive straight into this. Let me ask you this first question. Do you know what the problem you are solving is? Do you know what the problem that you're solving for your customer or your client is? And I ask this, and you might be like, Genevieve, this wasn't a whole branding exercise. Blah, blah, blah. No, actually in knowing what problem or pain point that you're solving for someone is going to lead to the actual understanding of what the value is that you're bringing. So I'm going to use an example. I got a flat tire the other day, and I knew that, no matter what, I had to get this repaired, right? It didn't matter the fact that, hey, maybe I could get it patched, or, maybe, somehow, like, it was unavoidable, because to me, the cost of not being able to drive was really, really high, because like it's basically how I get to the grocery store, go to the gym or whatever, right? So for me, it was a no-brainer. Like, I'm willing to fix that at whatever price that I needed to, right, to get that tire repaired. And so if you're thinking about also like knowing that your client has a problem that they absolutely do need to get fixed, right? It's something that's really important. What would you value it at? For me, you know what? I wasn't going to negotiate or haggle at, where did I go? I went to Discount Tires. I wasn't gonna haggle or negotiate and say, no, I'm not gonna change my tire, right? Because I knew that it was important. So I would ask this first thing is, know what is that problem that you're solving for your client, and understanding that that is of urgency, that does matter. And you might be like, but Genevieve, like, it's not really a life or death situation if I'm a portrait photographer, and it's not like, it's really this, do or die kind of thing. And I'm gonna actually hold you on that thought and help you see, like, what is the problem that you're solving as a portrait photographer, or say as a graphic designer. What you are doing is you are solving and you're elevating someone's brand. You are taking that absence of a story, absence of a connection from audience, right? To actually making sure that people understand who they are as a brand. You think that your job is just snapping or, making a graphic for their logo. No, what you are doing is you are solving this huge communication gap, which is super valuable. And if you're able to articulate that, right, that value is there and how much you're bringing to the table, then what do you think that's worth for someone to solve, right? So you start to think about that. Now, I didn't get into anything about hourlies because I don't really believe that the work that we do is really about the hours, right? It's really about the value that we were bringing for our customers. So, for example, this is a classic case scenario that I'm sure a lot of you photographers and graphic designers or branding experts, they go, well, it was really only an hour of your time, like, that you made the photos. It's really just like, a couple hours to rewrite that copy. But that's not what people are paying you for. They're paying you for your expertise and your vision and your talent, right? In addition to your time. And also, they are also paying you for the fact that you have this commendable skill to parlay some sort of communication and this gap that they have, which they don't have without your service. So I want you to pause for a moment that it's not anything to do about the hours that you're spending, but actually the value that you're bringing. If you reframe the fact that, for your portrait photography services or your copywriting services or, creating a whole new branding guideline, right? And you're redefining someone's brand. If you think about that, what is that worth to solve? For me personally, I know that if I were to have someone who could really nail that down and get it right and do it at a high quality level, that I would be willing to pay a lot. I would be willing to pay for that. And you're gonna find that your customers also, once they see that you're solving a problem that they have, and sometimes, they may not even be able to articulate it, but once you understand the problem and are able to articulate it and then say, yes, raise your hand, I can do it, I can solve that for you, they're gonna be like, please, I'll give you anything. Just like I said with the tires, right? I was like, yeah, please, because I gotta get it done, right? And so I want you to right now take a moment, just pause this, definitely do come back, but pause and see, or maybe even write in the comments below, what is the problem that you are solving for your customer, solving for your client? Go ahead. And I'm gonna assume that you've done that. I wanna put out another example for some of us who are like, wait, but Genevieve, I have paintings. Like, I don't know if I'm solving like some sort of urgent problem. If you're a visual artist, yes, you are solving a problem. The problem is this lack of inspiration or beauty. For example, what is it worth, right, to be able to wake up in the morning with something so beautiful, that there's a piece of art right in front. Every single morning when I wake up, I see this beautiful painting and it's done by my friend. And for me, the lack of that, right, is like the problem with not having that. And when I didn't have it, it was like very unsatisfying, almost as though I didn't have any of that inspiration. And then that lack of beauty. These are these things of like, what are these incremental ads that we're bringing in that makes this whole experience like, right? Or another thing that I can think about with art is that it brings the home alive. Like honestly, it's just so soul crushing, right? When a home, it's like bare, right? And it looks like no one lives there or that no one cares, right? And so that's solving a huge problem. And what is it worth to solve the problem of not having a home that feels like home? What is that problem, right? It's not about the number of hours that you've put into the painting. It's not the number of hours that you actually like spent on sketching. That's not why we pay a Picasso for, if we paid Picasso just for his time, I mean, gosh, he wouldn't be worth anything, right? Like, just think about that. But why is it worth so much? Why are our creative services worth so much? Is because we do solve, as creatives, we solve something that is inherently very, very important, which is communicating. It's communicating on a whole nother level. So what is that worth? What is that worth to your client? Well, I would say knowing first, how big is that problem? And then working your way backwards and saying, you know what, that's worth that much. So when people ask me, and then they say like, wait, why is, your branding session, right? You're like, wait, that's a lot. And I say, well, it's also me. What I'm solving for you is the fact that at the end, in 90 minutes, you're not going to have a headache anymore of not knowing who you're talking to. You're not going to have this uncertainty of who your target market is. You're going to know how to speak so that you can increase your sales like through the roof. What is that worth to you to have that figured out? Because right now, your problem is you're not making sales, right? So what is it worth to you? Well, I think it's worth making this investment. As creatives, we need to think about what is our value in terms of the actual investment that we are helping our clients make towards their businesses growing and thriving even more, or their lives thriving. So never, ever, ever feel bad or think, oh, well, it's just, a couple hours, blah, blah, blah. I mean, honey, that's not true freedom. You know, if you're thinking in hours, that is actually, you know, it's still like the employee mentality. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you wanted to work for someone else, then you didn't need to leave your last job, right? So the fact that you wanted to have this freedom and this flexibility, right? The financial independence and the independence to make your own budget and decide your rates, right? Like all of that, you know, then you wouldn't be thinking about the hours. You'd really be thinking about the value. And to be honest, that is the most important thing that we are doing for our customers, is that we are constantly providing value. So take a moment to think about what is the problem that you're solving for your customer and how expensive currently is that problem if it didn't get fixed. And then see, by you coming in with your services, how are you adding value so that they can get to the place that they need to be, okay? If with photography or with copywriting, you believe that someone could actually benefit, I'm going to use copywriting for this, is that if by doing this amazing copywriting, you really nail it and you know, and you can guarantee that they can go from, you know, barely any clicks on their pages to like hundreds of clicks to sales, and you can guarantee that, and they're selling products that are at, you know, say $2,000 each, what is that one click worth, right? So is it so ludicrous for you to ask for a piece of that? No. And so I really hope that as a creative, entrepreneurial, business owner, that you really own the value of what you're doing and that you declare what that rate is for you. So I know I went on a little bit of a rant here and I didn't define a specific number, but I believe that that is also very much tied to your answer, and what you discover is the problem and the value of the problem that you're solving. So my friends, if this video was helpful for you, please like, and if you have any questions or any comments or thoughts in this, please do comment below. I do love hearing from you and knowing what you're up to. So say hi, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching.